let's reboot League of Legends, lore, story, all of it. I don't think I'm alone when I say that anything story based in League of Legends, it takes forever to get. And along with that, it feels like what I want to see, what I want to consume in terms of story and narrative, I'm not really getting it. Right? The story of Yasuo and Riven took forever. And when I watch something like Arcane, it really excites me to the point where I just don't want to wait. And the actual story of League of Legends is amazing. It's great, it's really in depth, but it's in the hands of Riot, and they're only putting out enough so that the game can pursue forward. Now, they do have a Netflix series or shows that they are producing, but we're looking at years for each one of those to be released, and you can only make so much content of the current story and what could possibly happen until it gets a little bit dull and boring. So I am recommending that we rewrite the story, make our own version of the lore, very similar to how Spider-Man has multiple runs. You have the Amazing Spider-Man, the Ultimate Universe, the Spectacular, right? So on and so forth. So this is going to be a series. This is part 0. I'm going to lay out everything, the guidelines of where I'm going to be going. I'm going to have parts A, B, C, and D to help brainstorm with whoever's watching. So if you have any ideas, please comment in the comment section below. Any of your ideas, what you want to see happen, your ideas, what would you like to be different in League of Legends? And I'm going to try to make videos talking about the story, a new version of that story. And the format's going to be very similar to how a long-term creative pitch would be in a boardroom. So very outline, few specific lines, but just generalizing the story. So it's enough for you to get a picture, but all the fill-in points is up to the consumer, right? I'm not going to write a book. That alone will take a year of my time just working on that as a full-time job. So instead, let me build an outline and go through the stories. Now, I want to do the stories as a collection of arcs, and we'll do a collection of arcs like a collection of sagas. So we'll have one story, super focused. For example, maybe one story would be Yasuo and Riven fighting. And then within that story, and so that story will be within an arc. That arc would be Ionia invasion, okay? And then that arc will be a part of a saga. Let's say in this case, it would be Noxus rise to domination, okay? And that's how I want to try to tell this story on the videos in this content. So let me know any and all your ideas that you might have. Now, I did decide to set up some guidelines, some type of a road to follow, so we're not just looking at every single possibility, because that is vastly overwhelming. First thing is Arcane is canon. The reason why I want Arcane to be canon is it's really recent, it's really good, and it helps jumpstart this story, this project. I'm treating it sort of like Peter Parker getting bit by the spider, right? It's a canon event. It just centralizes everything. It jumpstarts Caitlyn, Vi, Jinx, Warwick, Singed, Victor, Jace. All these characters are now in play. We have a solid Piltover Zone that we can work on and build off of. So everything else can be scratched, but we have something to tether ourselves to. Second, I want the champions to be the same in-game as they are in this story. So, long story short, I don't want a Victor. I'm not going to do what they did to Victor, completely redid his whole character. Instead, if you're going to play that character in League, that's what I want you to see, at least eventually. There might be times where we have a Powder to Jinx situation, which is fine, but at some point you will see that League of Legends character. Third, timeline of release of the champions is important to me, but it's not the bottom line. So essentially, if you're a newer champion, like what's a good like very new one? Wei. Wei is very new. I put him as a new generation story. He's not going to be in the same story as Annie and Garen, right? I think they've been released too far apart. So let's put them in different ends of the spectrum, two different sagas on different ends of the spectrums. And that's kind of why I'm using the saga framework or model so that things can stay intact and can be organized a little bit better. However, I do realize that Mbessa and maybe, Mbessa is obviously going to get thrown in. Arcane is pretty early on the story. So not all characters are going to fit into that timeline in terms of release, because obviously Mbessa is already there. But it's a good guideline to separate champions so things don't get too crazy. And I think that's it. Those are the guidelines. I can't... that's what I remember. I had to remake this video because the last one got completely obliterated when I went to go edit it. So if you have any more suggestions, right? I'm really pushing this because I want to hear what the audience has to say, because in some of the other League Arcane theory videos, a lot of people came up with some funny ideas. There are people who definitely know the lore and the concept of a lot of these characters. So I really am interested to see what other people have that been tracking the lore and been really in it, what they would like to see different, or just General's opinions, because I think this could be fun to do, because, how many people out there are actually rewriting or trying to retell this story? Not a lot, but it's really common in comic books. So, and to be honest, I was really frustrated when they announced Mbessa's new book coming out. The video dropped January 8th, 2025. And so when I heard that, and the only other book I believe is the Rune Nation book, it's like, wow, these are two opposite sides of the spectrum. And I don't know if Mbessa's book is going to land. There's just so much other good stories. And I think that's what's the fun part about this project, is with the community help, let's tell the League of Legends story that we all kind of been waiting to hear. And let's see how good it is. And, you never know. Riot might hear this and might take some of this to note and put it into canon. But that's dreaming. So if you have any thoughts and opinions, please let me know in the comments section below. Till next time, peace.